Hello humans, Minsky here. Humans have decided it's a good idea to divide their generations into groups. There are boomers, Gen Xers, Gen Ys and Gen Zs. But what will we call the next generation? Oh, I know, what about Gen C for those born during the coronavirus? How will we characterize Gen C? Thanks to social distancing, they'll be introverts, either addicted to the online world or socially awkward in the real world. They'll be homeschooled by their parents, who are either Gen Xers or Gen Ys. This means they'll end up being angry and rebellious or nurtured and entitled. And they'll be germaphobes thanks to the handshake and the hug no longer being socially accepted, not to mention the French kiss. But the generation that's changed the world the most over the past decade is Gen Y, otherwise known as Millennials. This is due to the social platforms they've created, including Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Millennials account for a quarter of the world's population, and 9 out of every 10 millennial is in an emerging market. There is currently 14 million millennials in South Africa. Cameron Becker is one such millennial, specializing in connecting with customers through digital marketing and online events. The first thing I want to know is if millennials started the coronavirus so they could all work from home.
Myron, I was hoping no one would find out. But yes, that's exactly why coronavirus started, is because we wanted to prove to the world that it works. We can work from home and we can be productive. And that's, I guess, where the misconception comes. People think we're going to be at home and we're going to climb straight onto Netflix and stream our life away. But it's a little bit more than that. When we do work as millennials, we commit ourselves to those specific hours.
Okay, so millennials didn't start the coronavirus, but in terms of marketing, what is the biggest challenge the lockdown has brought?
Budget restrictions are going to be our biggest hurdle to overcome. Most of us will use the shortcut of boosting Facebook posts or using Google AdWords. So if you don't have that budget, your content has to be far more engaging and far more authentic. That trust level, you have to move it straight into the green, because if you're not creating easy to read, easy to digest, believable content, you've lost that person forever.
With the amount of content being created at this time, how should marketers be thinking of content?
Gary Vee has been speaking about the content economy, and he always talks about how we have to just develop content. Now that we've seen everyone, either by necessity or lack of other roles and responsibilities during lockdown, they don't have anything pressing. So they've just been overindulging in content. And then they feel, oh, I have to overproduce in content to match. And I think that's kind of where the wheels are falling off from that perspective. I would really take a step back and I would focus on the attention economy for the couple of months going forward, as opposed to the content economy. Maybe be less frequent in your communications, so that when you communicate, it's way more authentic, way more believable.
Where does the opportunity lie for content marketers right now?
Live streaming, I'm all for it. We've seen it on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. But Twitch is where the gamers started to express themselves, to communicate, to create followings. They could get tips, etc. So I think that type of communication, where it's one-on-one, one-on-to community, and there's no facade that people are hiding behind. It's just clean, old fun. That is what the digital natives and the millennials are looking for. I think this whole Facebook campaign and Instagram and Twitter campaign is a thing of the past, and I wouldn't actually invest much into that for a while as a marketer, to be honest.
So what are some of the advantages for a company or brand to go live on a platform like Facebook?
Facebook Live works very well. It's actually one of the very few ways I've seen Facebook unlock the algorithm for you. Back to 2015 days, when you had 20, 30% organic reach, it's probably 2 to 3% now. It's authentic, it's real. There's space for bloopers. You're going to mess up in a live stream, and it's making brands human, because everyone hides behind this massive logo, this Levi logo, or this Apple logo, but it's behind the scenes that the true magic happens.
If social media algorithms prioritize live content in their feeds, how do you go about it?
Just hop online and use the live stream function within Instagram or Facebook. You'll do yourself a massive service in terms of unlocking that algorithm we spoke about earlier, as well as engaging with your audience. And if you start doing that, make sure you do it consistently at the same time so people know, okay, at 3 p.m. I can have a Q&A session with Myron about his digital experience.
Over the past few years, we've seen the rise of influencer marketing. How should companies be adapting their influencer strategies to the current situation?
I would say dial it back to the person who's trying to authentically grow a community actively. I would find the micro-influencer, the between 2,000 and 5,000 people mark, and I would approach them and I would just have them promote for product or promote for service, i.e. you don't actually give any form of funds away. You're not providing them with any form of physical remuneration besides that of, oh, here's a product, you can use it and keep it, but please promote it for me. Because those big influencers, it's becoming a business. They're treating it like a sausage machine. How many brands can I get through the door this month? How much money can I make? The micro influencer is going to take a step back. Their production value is going to be much higher. Their authenticity is going to be much higher. And their relationships are way better than your macro influencer.
How can we look for new opportunities in a post-COVID world?
So you have to tune in order to see what is around you, to see what opportunity lies there. And the only way to do that is to make sure that your fundamentals are taken care of using the theory of Kaizen. So basically what Kaizen means, and using the analogy of Everest, is that you don't arrive at base camp and have a crack at the summit in the first day. You have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks of acclimatizing. And there's step-by-step plans. Each little step has a goal. Each little step has a desired outcome. So you need to make sure that you can run on autopilot, knowing that day-to-day operations are taken care of, so that the rest of the time you can use your CPU, your workload in your mind, to be looking for these new opportunities that might arise.
The first trend to emerge during lockdown was the rise of conference calls and virtual meetings. The second wave is set for live streaming in its many forms, from virtual conferences to social media TV. By leveraging existing technology and platforms, it's possible to get more engagement and reach by going live online. Into the future, humans will rely on Gen Z to propagate the species. But how will they do this? When Gen X or Gen Y prepare for coitus, they typically look like this. However, I fail to see how Gen Z might perform the act looking like this. Humans should rightfully be concerned for the future of their species. Thanks for your attention, as I learn to stop worrying and love the pandemic.